Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Suzuka in Japan. We are within a few minutes of the start of 199th race of the FIA World Touring Car Championship, and the stands here at Suzuka are starting to fill as the FIA World Touring Cars are sat on the grid in beautiful sunny conditions. Martin Haven, Matt Neal watching the action with you, and Matt, track temperature already 48 degrees and continuing to rise under clear blue autumnal skies. It's a beautiful weekend for the fans, but for the drivers and especially for their tyres, it's going to be very hard work. 226 lap races here.
That's right, Martin. We're at Suzuka, Japan. It's not the full Grand Prix circuit we're on this weekend, but the East circuit, which is it cuts off halfway through. So it's a shame it misses out some of the big commitment corners like 130R, but it has its own intense level, just like Brands Hatch Indy, and it's going to provide some very intense racing. It's just a 53-second lap round here, so we're going to get the leaders onto the back markers very, very quickly within a number of laps.
Well, you can see some of those, the drivers from Macau who have joined the championship, all of whom are in Super 2000 cars, which are several seconds a lap slower than the front-running turbo cars. They will be the ones that we catch first. Our pole man is Norbert Mikulic, and the Hungarian doing a stunning job in qualifying. Yesterday looked cool, calm and collected, and very relaxed again in morning warm-up this morning. And the Zengo Motorsport Honda Civic, Matt, he said after warm-up, didn't he, you know, car was perfect, and when everything's going perfectly, nothing's hard. You just get in and drive and it all just happens for you. I think that's understating it, but you know as a driver yourself that feeling where you can almost do no wrong.
Well, as I said before, it's a very short, intensive lap here, but yeah, if the car's working, it's doing the job for you, so you've just got to hang on to it and ride it like a good horse, I guess. You know, horses scare the hell out of me, but absolutely. It's the same sort of thing. You know, it's you just get in the groove and it all happens for you. Yeah. I mean, the two Castrol cars should have been right up there with Norbert, so that would have been pretty intimidating for the rest of the field if we'd had three up there. As it is, it's quite good for us because they're a bit spread out, but they're going to be quick.
Yeah. Could have been a 1, 2, 3. Gabriele Tarquini went off on his hot lap. Thiago Monteiro was a couple of hundred meters behind and ran into yellow flags and had to lift off. Look at the front of the field. Look at the little Toyotas, the front-wheel drive car. Who used to drive that? Chris Hodgetts, yeah, the little one with a motor on the front. Not here, not that car, but in the British Championship. A bunch of... in fact, that's not that. It's a Civic, isn't it? That's a second-generation Civic. So
maybe. I mean, this is obviously owned by Honda. Suzuka is.
So they've rolled out some of the old touring cars from the Honda collection. Very nice. Well, you're looking at the grid as it works down. 26 cars, 29 cars rather on the grid. 29 cars on the grid. 9 newcomers this weekend, some of whom will be with us for the rest of the championship. Some will not. Hiroki Yoshimoto will not be racing in the first Chinese race weekend, for instance. Let's get down to hear from Gabriele Tarquini.
We start the lap on the Suzuka. Small track, first corner 50 here is one of the best right corner in the world. It is even a double right. You have a lot of turn-in oversteer in this corner. And now we start the series of S's. A long series, the first one, the fastest one on the left. Again, jump on the corner on the right. Again, change direction on the left, jumping on the corner. And now you must carry on a lot of speed in this corner to attack the last part of the track. Jumping on the corner on the left, braking very hard in this double right. And this is the last long corner before the finish line. Very short and small corner, straight, and it's over. It's a very short track.
It didn't take long to talk through the lap, did it? And it is under a minute, a very short lap. 26-lap race coming up. Ivan Muller looking to tie up the World Championship here this weekend. Michel Nokia not present, has already dropped down to third in the championship. Gabriele Tarquini's points in qualifying have put him up to second place, and it is he now that Tom Chilton is chasing to try and become runner-up in the championship. Cars on the grid, getting ready for the formation lap here in Suzuka.
Yokohama, your tire.
Thumbs up from Tom Coronel, his home from home. One of a number of European racing drivers who spent several years racing successfully here in Japan in his younger days, single-seater career, and twice a winner here in World Touring Car Championship. Once at TI Aida when he was in the Seat in a wet-to-dry race, held off Augusto Farfus's BMW to win his first ever World Touring Car race. And he won here as well in Suzuka 2 years ago. Japanese anthem playing out over the grid as we make final preparations ready for rounds 19 and 20 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship here in Japan. Race numbers 199 and 200 of the current championship foundation. And 190 drivers have taken part in those 200 races. 190 drivers. That's just an insane number. Okay, name them, Matt Neal.
That's, I wonder how many nationalities have actually taken part in that. Have you got that figure in your...
I would say 34.
Bottomless pit of a brain of yours?
It's written right here, 34. And if that's wrong, I'm going to blame our press man. We just saw Gabriele Tarquini 8th on the grid, 7th on the grid for Pepe Oriola. He feels that he didn't quite get what he wanted to out of the 20 Racing Chevrolet, and he's got a car that is ready to finish on the podium. Well, for him, of course, that would be good fun. He had good race weekends already in that car, and it's definitely boosted his performance from the Seat he had earlier in the season. Thiago Monteiro, well, actually, I was thinking yesterday, he and Gabriele seem to have shaken off all that lack of reliability, bad luck, and whatever that followed them around in the first few race weekends. And actually, since the double wreckage of Marrakesh, things have definitely been on the up for the Castrol Hondas. Didn't get the best out of qualifying today, so they've got a bit of work to do in race 1. But of course, that means they are a little further forward on the race 2 grid.
One of the problems they've got to watch, Martin, is for cost. There is now, it's the same as Formula 1, there is a limit on the amount of engines you can use per year, and also because they're now 1.6 turbocharged units, the amount of turbos you can use, because they get through them. And the turbo is actually a controlled component for the whole championship, and the likes of Thiago and Gabriele, I believe, is in the same boat. They are now on the limit of the amount of turbos they've been allowed to use. So every time, if a turbo now goes, that means they're on the back of the grid. So it's a bit of a loaded gun they've got to the head, which, I mean, it's fantastic that they're running them to the level that they're getting this sort of performance with that loaded gun at their head.
Well, here's the man who should be world champion later on this afternoon, Ivan Muller. Needs a handful of points. I'm not going to go into the maths, because hopefully we'll have some exciting racing and the maths can take care of themselves. Tom Chilton, his teammate, out-qualified him again, second weekend in a row. Last time he was on pole for race 1 in Sonoma, and was very, very pleased with that. First career World Touring Car pole, first career World Touring Car win. And Matt, we were looking at a picture last night over dinner, weren't we, where James Thompson and you looked as young as Tom Chilton. I mean, what was he in that photo? 4, 6, something like that?
Tom would have been 16, I think.
But he's still, you know, quite a young driver in World Touring Car terms, and that's, you know, that's an added boost of confidence for him. And what about Alex McDowell? Front row start as well in a Yokohama Trophy car. He's got to fancy his chances of finishing on the overall podium again.
I mean, the average age of the front row is actually pretty youthful today.
It is. It certainly is. The veterans are a little further back. The 45 and 50-year-olds are at the back, Grandad, and the kids who are...
They'll come through, Martin. Trust me, they'll come through.
Well, I was... Yeah. Age and treachery always beats youthful exuberance, doesn't it? Well, not always, but frequently so. And our poleman is Norbert Mikulits. One of the most quietly spoken, relaxed guys you can imagine. And of course, the story of him coming from being a successful gamer to racing driver, it's all basically down to the man that runs his team, Zoltan Zengo, who gave him a chance in a real car and then found he had something very special on his hands. And he starts the first race from pole.
Yokohama, your tire.
Grid is clear, you can hear the cars being dropped into gear and the green lights are on. So here we go. This is the start for round 19 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship 2013. The 199th race will get underway from a rolling start in just a fraction over a mile.
Welcome in Suzuka circuit, this fantastic circuit. We use just a small portion of the track. This is the first corner. It will be very hot as usual here in this double ride because it's very important to have a good position. Here it's in this track it's very difficult to overtake people. And fortunately today there are a lot of fans supporting us, especially with Honda, and I hope to do my best to achieve a good result. Bye-bye.
Ciao Gabriele, and good luck to him and to everybody else. 29 cars heading round for the rolling start. James Nash and Alex McDowell looking to take the lead of the Yokohama Trophy from the absent Michel Nukia. And McDowell with the best position to do so outside front row starter in the white and blue Bamboo Engineering Chevrolet. But the orange and black Zengo Honda is the car on pole position. Here we go. Norbert Mikulits paces the field round for the start of the 2013 races in Japan. Red lights are on, they have got to go through their grid spots. That's a shocking start, they may be waved away. And I'm not sure, well, the lights have changed, and immediately James Nash tries to jump to go around Tom Chilton. Chilton shows his nose on the inside, Muller showing his nose behind Alex McDowell, who tucks into second place. No, he doesn't yet, drives around the outside of Norbert Mikulits, and he's still just got a tiny overlap. Mikulits has the lead. Contact between Muller and Gabriele Tarquini. That's got to know. It's Mark Montero, isn't it? He was further up on the grid. Montero up to third, and fourth place for Ivan Muller ahead of Tom Chilton. Matt Neal, that was as busy a start as we expected, but everybody facing the right way through that first corner.
Yeah, blinding start from Montero on the third row, and he's going for it again. He's going around.
Too wide, and it's all for nothing. And chops back in, but James Nash got bumped a long way back down the order, and so he'll drop in behind him.
Yeah, Montero blinding start. Now, Michelit's had 4 Chevys breathing down his neck on the start, and so they've got to do him early. And I mean, if McDowell needs to try and put the pressure on, because if Michelit's gets in the groove, he's had really good race pace in free practice, and it's going to be hard to catch him.
We saw the larder James Thompson going by Tom Coronel for 9th after the line, so he's moved up from 11th on the grid. Huff is still 12th, further back in that queue. And everybody else streaming through. Daryl O'Young coming from a long way back. 20th place for Daryl O'Young. So he got shuffled back at the start as well in his Royal Motorsport car. But Mikulits, after morning warm-up, Ben asked him about tyres. He said it's important that the driver deals with the tyres properly in the opening couple of laps. Well, I'm not sure he's nursing them at the moment, Matt. He seems to be running away and hiding at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely pulled the pin on that thing, hasn't he? So he's trying to make a break and get some air.
Oriola in the background.
Get him away because of the slipstream with the others.
Oriola attacking Tarquini. Doesn't get by, and right behind him is Nash. Looking back from Gabriele. This is the battle for 5th place then. So Mikulits leads, Alex McDowell second from Muller and Chilton, and then Tarquini, Oriola, Nash, Montero's there, Thompson ahead of Coronel, then Bernani and Huff.
That's a great shot of Oriola. You see he's actually inch perfect going through that those S section of the corners.
You know, Matt, here in these fast sweepers, look, you've got very damaging tyre stacks right inside the curbing, so just enough room to get the line right and not enough room to get it wrong.
what you see is some of the, now whether some of these quicker cars, you know, like the Tarquini's just dropped back off that.
Look in the background.
Second, third and fourth.
Going
guys.
3 wide behind.
Is he nurturing his tyres? Is he nurturing his tyres to come on in the second half of the race? Has he got his car set up purely for the last half of the race? Oh, but Oriola's got inside him.
Turns him. Always going to happen because the corner tightens. Now Gabrielli ran a little wide. Pepe had to go up the inside, and James Nash is wriggling through. It's like fish in a barrel. They're all flapping around, and Thiago Monteiro right behind, and the change there. Gabrielli somehow hangs on to it, and Nash got by Oriola, but they were all, I mean, the cars were fishtailing all over the place.
It was a pretty busy time.
Yeah.
Tarquini's definitely the cork in the bottle at the moment.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Whatever is right with Norby's car is wrong with Gabrielli's. And again, you might well be right. It may just be too loose at the moment to really get the performance out of it. And in that manner, because he wants it to perform better later on. He wants it to have tyres left. We'll wait and see what happens to Mikelic. McDowell, Muller, Chilton all together. Then this group, in one breath, Tarquini, Nash, Oriola.
Monteiro could have showed us what one of the Castrol cars was like for performance, but after he dropped back halfway through lap 1, he's now stuck in traffic with the rest of them.
Monteiro's got Thompson right behind him in the larder, then Coronel, then Bernani, then Huff and Basseng, then Rocky, Hiroshi Yokimoto, 14th. So from Tarquini in 5th to 14th, they're all in one line, and here is that moment.
He goes, loses to the rear.
Got loose. Pepe was always going to come in, but Gabrielli was always going to come back. In slow motion, Matt, it makes it look easy to see that he's made the wrong call.
Oh, Nash being very opportunistic there, very good.
Well, listen, this is elbows out racing. Again, Brands Hatch Indy Circuit is our direct UK sort of comparison, isn't it? You know, you've got to get on with it.
It's very hard to plan an attack on, you know, you can work out where the, I mean, obviously where the other cars are quicker and slower than you, and Gabrielli is struggling through that turn 1. It's high-speed oversteer he seems to be struggling with at the moment, which would, you know, say he's gone for the latter half of the race with his setup.
Well, here is our Super 2000 contingent, the 5 Mecanese drivers at the back of the field, and we're some way yet from catching them. So let's work out. It's a 54-second lap. Let's say he's 2.5 seconds quicker. It's going to take 20 laps to catch them. Norbert Mikelic leading in Suzuka after 5 of the 26 laps of this first race here in Japan. Pit boards hanging out for the rest of the drivers. In fact, it's now on to lap 7, so our timing screens have gone a lap down somehow. Not quite sure how that's worked. He leads from McDowell, Muller and Chilton, and then this queue. Tarquini, and then Nash, the blue car Oriola, then Monteiro, Thompson's red car, Coronel in the BMW, Bernani behind him with the red, white and green, then Huff and Basseng, the black cars, then Yoshimoto, the black and white car, and then Fernando Monche, Seat on the back of that. So 5 to 15, 11 cars in a queue, all kept under wraps by Gabriele Tarquini. And everywhere you look, forwards or backwards from these onboards, there's just a queue of cars jockeying for position.
We're just looking back at Tom Coronel now in the Valvoline-backed Rail Motorsport BMW. He's the lead BMW in 10th place at the moment, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can start to make progress as we work our way into the laps of this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how front-wheel drive car tyre wear works here. Tarquini still with Nash for company. Right in the background, ooh, and Huff thinking about a look inside Bernani. I was going to say right in the background, shaping up in the battle for 18th. Mikhail Kozlowski, Darrell Young, and off goes Rocky. That's Hiroki Yoshimoto in the Nika Racing Chevrolet. Just got corner 1 wrong. This is his 3rd year of racing in the World Touring Cars. Wow.
He did arrive there pretty quickly, didn't he?
He didn't get corner 1 wrong, did he? He was wrong before corner 1. It went that way. Yeah, I think, again, that looked like braking right on the white line and getting a bit of dust or dirt under the tyres, and then you've got no grip and it just shoots straight up.
That's the difficult thing. I mean, there is through this S section, it's very close, very intense, and there's one line through there, so you get off that line, the hot, sticky tyres suck up all that dust and debris, and as the race goes on, you'll get marbles on that section. So if you go off and try and make a move, you've obviously got that to compromise with.
Looking back from Gabriele Tarquini, who lies 5th, that is James Nash right behind him. Nash, joint leader in the Yokohama Trophy with the absent Michel Nukia, and unfortunately the Dane, it doesn't seem, has any budget left to complete the season. Was 2nd in the overall standings and Yokohama Trophy leader, leaving Sonoma after 3 outright wins this season in the Nika Racing Chevy. But he won't be taking any further part. And Pepe Oriola dropping off the pace in that all-blue 20 Racing Chevrolet. He was right behind Tarquini, challenged Gabriele to get by him for 5th, got it wrong, Nash went through, and now suddenly Oriola dropping down the order. I wonder if that contact between all 3 of them has had a little bit of a negative effect on Pepe's car.
Well, he was fast for the couple of laps post that, so whether he's still very young, Martin, so whether, you know, I keep on going on about this setup of the car, but it is very critical with the tyre wear around here. Maybe he's not set his car loose enough.
Absolutely.
Looser enough.
Set it up, loosen up.
I get my words out, my R's and my R's.
You get your words out and your R's. Looking back again at James Thompson, and actually, the Lada, as ever, when you get out of the extremes of qualifying into race trim, performance balances change, don't they? Something that is, you know, deadly fast on a single flying lap won't necessarily have that same advantage in a race, especially when it gets to all arms and elbows. And Thompson looking quite competitive there in 9th place. He's right behind Thiago Montero. Can't make a move, but Montero's not dropping him.
Yeah, but Tomo's a great racer. You put him in anything, he race a cardboard box and ring its neck. There's
Izawa, Takuya Izawa, in the 4th factory Honda, and that is a Honda Japan Honda, and he's got Charles Eng right behind in his Engsler BMW. That's a good battle. Eng has been at him every inch of the way. Been watching it shaping up in the background. Charles has had a couple of little runs down to turn 1, but has just not been able to get by him. And of course, for Charles Eng, and right behind him, the red and yellow car of Daryl O'Young, the Roar Motorsport car. They now, after Japan, head to China and then to Macau, to Chinese races, effectively, and back to familiar territory for them as well. The field is definitely breaking up. Norbert Mikkelitz still growing the lead, now 2.9 ahead of McDowell, Muller and Chilton, and they in turn nearly 5 seconds ahead of Tarquini, so the gap from Chilton to Tarquini, 4.5 seconds nearly.
Michelitz is just inching it out. It's 2 tenths, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, just slowly, doing the job, driving it cleanly. Getting to mid-race distance, and he is still faster than anybody else out there. Now, a lot of the anybody else's are in this queue behind Gabriele and then Pepe Oriola, but nevertheless, it does underline, Norby had one of those mornings where he woke up, I guess, pretty much knowing he was going to win the race. He was confident. When we saw him yesterday, he was absolutely really confident. It's just that thing that flows through. When you've got the fluence, when the force is mighty within you. That was Huffy. He was having a big moment. And that'll drop him away from the car in front of Bernani. Oriola's looking a little defensive as he shapes up down the straight. Having a bit of a wiggle to try and clean his tyres up there. Yeah. Thiago having a look inside outside, but not close enough. Well, poor Norby, the race leader, Norbert Mikkelitz, now gone from 2.9 to 3.3 in the lead on the last lap. We're not seeing any of him because he's running away out front. However, the fans will be very pleased indeed that there is a Honda leading and leading comfortably. Something dangling under the front of Norbert's car. Looks like a bit of hose. I mean, it's not a strap or a tie down or anything, so it's got to be a bit of hose of some kind waving away in the breeze under there. And I wonder what damage there was from that little bit of bouncing and rubbing. I noticed it trailing on the floor a few laps ago, and you can still see it underneath the blue car. And it may, I don't know what, you know, maybe something to do with the cooling, maybe something to, I don't know. But race cars don't normally have bits dangling underneath, not when they're healthy anyway. It could be anything, Martin. Yeah. Anyway. Marc Basseng in an all-Seat battle here for 13th with Fernando Montier. And
Still, Tarquini holding off Nash for 5th position.
I think it's a matter of time before Montero has a pop at Oriola.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It is definitely. He's shaping up for a go. As the race progresses now, we're past the midway distance. Race 1 in Suzuka. Tom Coronel looking to have a bit of a run on James Thompson's Lada, and just in front of them, Nash. Is he going to lunge at Tarquini? No. Is Montero going to lunge at Oriola? Not yet. But as you said, Matt Neal, that has got to come soon. I think Pepe is struggling more than Thiago.
Yeah, we're about mid-distance now, so this is the time when tyre wear is going to start to eat into them.
See that Thiago, his Honda, is holding a neater, tidier line than Oriola, who's starting to run out of front end. I think you're right, Matt. I think that he has not got the car aggressively oversteering enough, and as a result, maybe he just doesn't feel comfortable with as much rear steer as the Chevy can use to get the tail sliding around.
Well, he's got a good run out of there, so he's got a good toe. Should get a good slipstream down here. I love going in car with the Hondas because you can really hear the anti-lag working on the overrun. You can hear the popping and the banging and the snapping, which is the anti-lag. So when they go to pick up the throttle again, they've got instant throttle response, which is always a drama trying to get that with the turbo engine cars.
On board with Van Muller. Ooh, Alex McDowell in 2nd place at the moment, as he was on the grid.
Alex's car's starting to move around a little bit more now.
We see now the thing here, unless you have a really major moment, is that there is no way to get by until you get out of the final corner, all the way down the straight and into turn 1. There is really, realistically, only one overtaking place. There's other places where drivers in front of you can lose it, but there's only one place where you can make up a place, and we're getting down to it now, into the braking area for this first turn, which is downhill. First element is right, then really hard on the brakes for the second element, which dips down and starts to climb. I mean, Matt, the car trying to do so many different things there. It's always quite surprising to me that more people don't get it wrong out of turn 2.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, turn 1 it's a bit like Paddock Hill Bend at Brands Hatch, where you've got to have it so loose you can only just live with it to get through there, but then you've got the front end to give you that fast lap time throughout the rest of the lap. And the same goes here. You arrive through turn 1, 5th gear, very, very quickly. Then it all tightens up and hooks back on itself into turn 2. From there, from 2 to 8, you're on a roller coaster ride. You just have to get in the groove and mark your points.
You do indeed. Battle at the tail of the field for 28th place is coming up in front of Norbert Mikulits in the next few laps. 18 completed. We're on lap 18 rather of 26. Here's the battle for 7th place. Oriola's blue car. Montero moving around behind him, still in the Honda. And this is where Tom Coronel's favourite race ally, patience, is really going to be the important thing. You know, you have a lunge, and it's always going to be a rash lunge. You've got to wait for the gap to appear, and Thiago pushing Pepe through there. You can't turn him round. You'll end up with a penalty.
He's getting frustrated.
Yeah, but he knows that you can't get through here unless you make contact.
He's doing it.
Yes, but he made contact to start it off. He got him loose, and now he's up in the air, and he's into the tyre stack. And again, not enough patience. And Thompson goes through, and what damage has been done to Thiago's car? Well, Thompson is still in front of Montero. Thiago, of course, the only Honda racing here last year. That front wing, well, I tell you what, why do they bother spending time in the wind tunnel? It's going as quickly down the straight without the front wing as it was with it. Not quite, no. Oh, and who's gone off right in front? Is that Oriola? Oh, it's Bernani. Right, well, Bernani was in the queue right behind Tom Coronel, and there is Gabrielli pulling off.
Puncture.
Left front puncture for Gabriele Tarquini. So he is out of 5th. James Nash is now up to 5th. Tarquini is off, and that has shredded itself. Left front has gone. So suddenly, in 1 mile, 2 Castrol Hondas in major trouble.
Now that was naughty of Oriola because he forced. Where was Montero meant to go?
Well, but where was Pepe supposed to go?
Yeah, there's a lot of tarmac on his left, Martin.
Yeah, but he was never going to get round the corner.
By pushing Montero into that, there's no alternative. You knew he was going to cause an accident by putting him into the tyre wall, the tyre stack.
Well, there is Pepe Oriola.
The radio communications are going to be going absolutely mental now because Tarquini having that puncture, Michelitz every lap.
And he's now one of only 2 Hondas left. Tiago is in. Drama here is they've got to fix this before the end of the race, or they've only got 15 minutes of repair time in which to do it, which is why, as the car's being rolled back, they're already trying to undo the wheel nuts. Yellow flags out in sector 3. Norby leads. Drive-through penalty for Pepe Oriola has been called. And so the stewards agree with Matt Neal that he should have allowed more room for Montero. And Ivar Muller having a bit of an attack, and Pepe's engineer, well, it was side by side, but as Matt said, Pepe should have allowed a little bit more room for survival because that tyre stack was always coming up as a major bone of contention. Well, that will move James Thompson up to 7th place. So suddenly, all change in the queue. Tarquini with a puncture, Tiago with major damage, Oriola with a drive-through. That's 3 of your top 10 out of contention immediately.
The question is, can Michelitz get to the end of the race on his front left tyre?
Gabrielli's got a little bit of damage at the front from a bit of bumping and boring. I wonder if that has done something maybe to block partly the brake cooling duct, which allows the brake to overheat, which overheats the wheel. But I mean, left front, it's the one that does all the work here, isn't it? Here, the left front is just being beaten with a stick. You know, the car is flailing it to pieces. Miklic still leads. He sat on a 3.5-second lead for a few laps, come down from 4.5.
These two got the lights on now. These two, Muller and McDowell, got the lights on. They can, I think they could smell a victory because they're not going to be stupid. They can see that both the Castrol Hondas have gone out, and there could be a potential problem for Michelin. So now, they could be fighting for a race win here.
Well, yeah, Muller's looking to win, isn't he? Pepe is in the garage. Dad not looking impressed. Now, he only had a drive-through. Tarquini's back out with a fresh tyre, and there is the battle for second coming down the track towards us. Norman Mikelic disappears from the shot as the battle for second place continues to rage between Alex McDowell and Ivar Muller. Talked to James Nash about this earlier in the year at Salzburg when he held on from Ivar Muller all the way through the race. Didn't win the race, but said, come on, look, this is Ivar Muller. He's a 3-time world champion. He's a 10 times ice racing champion. He's won in Formula 2. He's won in Formula 3000. He's won in all sorts of different single-seater and tin-top categories over the last 20 years. And he couldn't get by you in identical cars. You know, for the younger drivers in the field, that is, you know, that shows that you're doing something right. All right, it's not the easiest track to overtake on, but Muller would get by me in a lap. So you've got to give these guys credit where it's due. When you're able to race with that amount of pressure from that kind of a driver and still keep it all together, you're doing something right.
What was evident when we watched Muller and McDowell together is Muller's able to hold a much tighter line with his car at the moment. So that's why he can show his nose up the inside. He can sniff something. Now, last lap, Michelitz's times dropped right off. He was a second slower than McDowell and Muller following him, but he's managed to get it together in this lap.
Coronel's in trouble. Rob Huff's gone around the outside of the BMW. Now, Tom Coronel came from Sonoma with 2 unused sets of tyres specifically for Japan. Has he sacrificed race 1, where he started in 9th, for race 2 with an all-new set of tyres and the front row of the grid? I would like to bet yes, he has. Pauline watching at home, I think race 2 might be well worth staying up for. On board with Mark Basseng, this is the battle now with Thompson in 6th, Huff in 7th, Coronel in 8th, Basseng in 9th. 10th is Monche. Where's he come from on the grid? Monche was 18th on the grid, so he's had a good race. The two guys in front, Kim Veng Eng and Carlot Mack in the Chevy and the BMW, being caught by the leaders and then being caught by the pack. Thompson with Huff now. Huff's car has suddenly come alive in the last couple of laps.
Well, Martin, I mean, the general pace is extremely slow. I mean, there's some 3.5, it's only a 53-second lap, and they're 3.5 seconds off what they were doing at the beginning of the race, never mind qualifying.
Yeah. Well, they're always going to be a lot slower than qualifying because they're carrying 26 laps of fuel rather than 5 or 6. But you're right, the tyre wear is having an effect, and you can see the balance of power is changing as well. In fact, the leaders down to Nash, the top 5 have all got by our first back marker pair. And there is the battle for second place.
Chilton's come to the party.
Chilton is right in there. Now this is last lap. I was going to say this is Daytona 500 time, isn't it? 400 miles to survive, and then 100 miles to win the race. This is only for second place though. Alex McDowell not going to win yet. He's going to have to push him out the way to get through. McDowell has defended supremely well against Ivan Muller for 25 laps. Norbert Mikulec climbs the hill in front of them. Up through turn 5 they go to 6, the right-hander. Then, I beg your pardon, I'm 2 corners behind, up to turn 8. And the checkered flag is out. It is victory in Japan for Honda. Norbert Mikulec wins World Touring Car Race number 199. And second place at the line. It's a drag race, but it is Alex McDowell from Muller and Chilton. Chevy, Chevy, Chevy. And Stuart Cowie at RML looks happy with that. RML, of course, looking for new manufacturer programs as ever. And is that the moment where Ivan Muller claims the championship? Not sure. Chilton, Nash, Thompson, Huff. It's a blanket finish. Look at that. There's a dozen cars across the line, all in one go. But Norbert Mikulec wins here in Japan for Honda, from pole in Japan for Honda. His engineer looking very happy. And you saw his team boss Zoltan Sango in the throes of ecstasy on the pit wall. And I've got to say that the Yas guys will be very, very pleased as well. They delivered the World Championship for Honda last weekend, 2 weeks ago in Sonoma. This week they've been to the Honda factory, to Honda R&D, the guys responsible for building the engines for the car, with whom they've been working hand in glove developing this Civic World Touring car. And now they deliver a pole and a win in Japan for Honda to underline just what a good season they have been having.
Yokohama, your tire.
A very hot and sweaty looking Norbert Mikulec, our race winner here in Suzuka, and our world champion is Ivan Muller. It was enough in third place in the end. His 4th World Touring Car title. Congratulations to RML, to Ivan Muller and everybody back in Wellingborough. Well done, everybody. Fantastic job as a privateer outfit. Okay, they had the same car that won the title for Chevrolet the last couple of years. Ivan Muller cannot now be caught. And this is a fitting tribute to the work of RML, because, of course, he leaves the team after Macau.
Yeah, kind of sad that, isn't it? That makes him the most successful driver in World Touring Car history. Saying that, 4 world titles, Andy Priaulx had 3 and a European.
Yeah,
so
and they were consecutive.
He's got 4 titles as well.
But you won't be aware that the Honda team, the Works team, have had some problems in this race, so you have brought joy to all of the Honda fans here in Japan.
Actually, I was aware. So Gergo, my race engineer, told me, and I was really not pushing that much the second part of the race, so it was an unbelievable race from the first moment. The car, once again, like in qualifying and this morning's warm-up, was just a dream. So I don't want to say it was not a hard job to win this one, but after the rolling start, when I managed to stay first, I knew that it's only up to me. And fortunately, I was able to control my pace, control the wear of the tires. So I'm very proud of everyone. I would like to thank once again everyone involved, Honda, Yas, my team, Zenger Motorsport, and it's just it's a beautiful day for us.
The key to winning the race then, was it the first couple of laps where you were free at the first corner and you could get a good pace those first couple and make the gap?
Yeah, I think the key was new tires in the front, because yesterday in qualifying we were able to save some tires, and with new tires it's always a little bit easier to make a gap to the others. So the first 2 or 3 laps I was pushing a little bit to make a gap, and then after I was just trying to control the pace.
A massive congratulations, Norbert Michel, the winner. We have Alex McDowell here, who is the Yokohama Trophy champion, and an emotional scene ahead of us with Alessandro Mariani from the Yas team. Alex McDowell, come in for me, please. Not only the independent winner, but also the second place in the race. Alex, that looks like a lot of work with Ivan right behind you.
Yeah, it was really hard work. Norbert got a good lead at the start, and I kind of thought, God, he's uncatchable. He's been really good all weekend, so I thought I'd settle for second, control my tyres, and yeah, then Norbert was really in the distance, and I had to try and settle down and defend from Ivan, which isn't the easiest thing. So yeah, really tough race, and yeah, looking forward to the second race.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Ben Constantinos herding sheep down there, as every Japanese photographer on the planet wants a piece of Norby.
We went round it. I was like, oh, he stopped. Yeah.
What did you think at the end when Chris went on the radio talking us out?
I knew it. I saw Darwin in the pit lane the lap before.
Yeah, but you started to attack McDowell and they go, no, be conservative.
What did you see in the pit lane? No, I saw before, 1 lap before he told me.
Always good to hear the debriefs, isn't it? And don't forget, if you are watching back home in Europe at whatever o'clock in the morning, Inside World Touring Cars, Tuesday evening on Eurosport, you can see all the excitement from within, and I'm sure there will be a lot of stories there with the Honda team and with Ivan Muller, the new world champion. So congratulations to Honda and to Ivan, and also to Norby on their wins here, and Alex McDowell, second place overall, but also the Yokohama Trophy winner. Not yet champion. Ben's getting his champions and his winners a wee bit confused. We will, I'm sure, hear from Ivan Muller in the pit lane after race 2, or perhaps between the races, once they've all calmed down a little bit. And Norby, as ever, his profile is very high, Matt Neal, in Hungary, and part of the reason his profile is very high is the work he puts in to keeping the fans entertained.
He's a national celebrity in Hungary. You know, he's their David Beckham. So he's and it's the crowd you get to Hungaroring is unbelievable. Yeah. It's the biggest event on the World Touring Car calendar for crowds, I think. Definitely.
Well, there are the championship points at the moment. If Ivan Muller can now not be caught, he will be our world champion.
Ivan, congratulations. You are the 2013 World Touring Car Champion, and with a great fight during the race.
Yeah, great fight, but without risk. I didn't want it to take any risk. I wanted this title finish. Like this, we can do something else. Now I can be focused on maybe help Tom as well a little bit. No, I'm proud to done it. Proud because 1 month before the first race, we were not sure to be on the grid, and we had to think on a different way. No money, so all the sacrifice done by the team RML and myself, we have to pay back. I'm sorry, but I have to go back in the car now.
Okay, thank you very much, Ivan.
He does indeed have to go back in the car. And it's great payback, Matt Neal, for perseverance of RML to put a deal together to run him and Tom Chilton. And with his engineer, Chris Cronin, Ivan Muller has always been a factor in every race, and that is why he is, again, the world champion. 4th title for him.
And Muller looks at the bigger picture. He's actually quite a similar animal to Sebastian Loeb, who he's going into partnership with, because Loeb's got interests in other teams, other formula, life after racing, what's going to happen, life when he's in racing. Muller is doing exactly the same, which with other championships, French championships, international championships, which are off our radar on the television, but he's working away there, and he's been working away with RML, trying to make the deal happen.